Jann. I am so excited.
I'm really happy to be here, and you're doing so great. Isn't this a great show?
Oh, that's really nice. Thank you so much, Jann. Well, I have to say, huge congrats. This is a thrill. We have not done this ever before on the show. Huge congrats on your new album, Mixtape, because you all have a tape. I was gonna say, listen, I love a cassette. This throws you back, right?
Well, anyone that's old enough can remember the tragedy that was the cassette tape.
Yes.
I drove an old Monte Carlo. It was like a 1976 Monte Carlo, and my older brother used to call it a land barge. And but there was a cassette deck, but it was very tentative. So if you put the cassette in, sometimes it just did weird things, but I remember pulling it out and then the tape would come out with it. Yeah, the tape would come out with it.
Nightmare.
And it was so frightening, and then you'd get your little finger.
Yes, because you didn't always have the #2 pencil.
You didn't always have the HB.
No, yeah.
But yeah, it was, it's really cool to have the cassette, and it's pink.
Yeah.
It's a pink cassette.
Oh my gosh. This is extra. I love that.
No, I'm really thrilled with the record.
Yeah.
And the 90s, of course, were my decade. I mean, I had so much success, and I'm very grateful for all the support from radio. But during that time, I was traveling so much, but I was getting just lambasted with other amazing artists that were doing these songs that became really a backdrop to my life. So this is really paying homage to so many artists that I admired so much.
Is that why you narrowed in on the 90s? Because I've heard you talk a little bit about potentially you were thinking about doing the 70s or 80s or things like that, but is that why you narrowed in? Because it was such a big decade for you?
Well, that and my manager, Bruce Allen, and my record company, because I had initially done about 5 or 6 tracks. And I went, oh, by the way, I'm doing a record. It was the 70s, it was the 80s. Yeah. I had done, a whole bunch of stuff. And when I handed it in, I think the label was a little bit confused.
Okay.
And so it really was agreed upon. I had done a couple of 90s tracks, and they're like, why don't we focus on the 90s, which I was happy to do.
Yeah.
And there's so much great music from the 90s. It was an amazing decade. And let's not forget what happened with music videos.
Yes.
That was such a huge part of all our lives. I remember, racing home late 80s and praying that my favorite video would come on.
Yes. You'd always put on Much Music and just be like, let's just tune in, see what's going to play next.
Well, it was before social media. Yeah. Now we have so much access, Mary, to artists. We can go on and see what they frickin' ate.
Yeah.
Oh, I see that Sting had a waffle. Yeah. But back in the day, if there was a television special, if there was, anything, and videos were a way of making those connections.
Like glimpse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you have any song in particular on the record that really, really speaks to you? I'm a Simon and Garfunkel fan, so I love that you did The Boxer.
The Boxer turned out great, and Kyle McCurney, who sang with me, is I'm not going to say up and coming. The man is, 40-some years old. Yeah. But he's been doing music a long time and has certainly got some traction in the last few years. Yeah. He is such a remarkable singer. And I had Russ, I said, do you think Kyle would sing on this? And he did a great job. I mean, it's hard to touch these iconic artists, and obviously you've chosen a song that is not in the 90s, and I feel like I need to explain myself. When I got... Sorry. No, because I said to my label guy, I'm like, I love The Boxer so much, I don't want to sacrifice it. So I dragged The Boxer into the situation. And also, I think Boys of Summer is 80s.
Yes.
So those two didn't make it. But if you were drunk... Yeah. A lot.
Yes, you could convince, for sure.
But yeah, it's an amazing song. But I think one of my particular favorites is Crazy, singing the Seal song.
Yeah, so good.
And, but all of them. Sia, Breathe Me is so intense. Gotta Be by Desiree. I remember seeing that black and white video in the early 90s and seeing her arms were going, and she was singing about a message that is very much as relevant now 30 years later as it was then.
Yeah, and the Robin, like, Show Me Love, that was a soundtrack for me. I was too young to be, like, understanding what we were singing about, but I was like, show me. Oh, my gosh, so good.
Well, they're earworms, and those Swedish guys, they have a way with writing a pop song.
They really do.
Yeah, it sticks with you.
It really does.
But, yeah, I'm really proud of the record, and it was amazing to sing. I mean, I'm a singer. I grew up copying people. That's what I did in my parents' basement, is I excuse me, put records on from the Columbia Record Club. And I'm still a member.
Yeah.
But just listening to these songs and copying artists.
Yeah.
And so for me to kind of revisit this way of looking at music all these years later has been amazing.
Yeah.
So it's great.
It shows you've had such longevity. These songs have had such longevity. So it kind of just goes hand in hand. It's such a beautiful kind of, I guess I'll call it a collaboration between you and these songs.
Well, I think too, from a singing point of view, and I'm a singer before I'm anything else, and just to kind of test myself and do things that were challenging was really great. And it's sometimes you get so sick of yourself. I'm like, if I write one more song, and I'm very good at plagiarizing myself all the time, I'll be writing something and I'll think, God, this sounds so familiar.
Jan, I do that with recipes sometimes. I'm like, this is a great idea. And I'm like, oh, I made it a year ago.
I've made spaghetti before. And that's how it feels.
Yeah, totally.
Honestly, Mary, you're not wrong. And you just feel like you just get sick of yourself. So for me, it was an opportunity to step outside myself. And God knows, we live in a time right now where I think somehow revisiting 2 or 3 decades ago feels like a balm for the soul, you know, and it's, I don't mean bomb.
No, with an L and an A.
A balm for the soul. And we think that it's easier times, and maybe it is. Maybe the 90s seemed, you know, to be so idyllic. So I think that's what being nostalgic is all about too. You can put this record on and remember where you were, and you know, remember having a stubby beer and making out on the top of a turned over hockey net. It wasn't me personally, but I'm sure it was
somebody did it.
And just revisit an easier time, and I think that's what music does for us. It is a portal to things that we've done and experiences that we've had.
That's amazing. Well, Jan, I'm so excited. I know you're going on tour with this, so best of luck with that.
Yes, we are going on tour.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
We're going to be here in Toronto for a couple of shows at Massey Hall.
I mean, come on. So huge. That's going to be absolutely amazing. Well, Jan, best of luck with that. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you very much, Mary.
This was a delight.
I'll drink to that.
Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.